Good morning, good morning, good morning. We'd like to welcome you to BlackUSA.News morning show. My name's Donnie Glover, and I will be your host today. We have with us the one, the only. Let me just say, if you want to learn something about minority business, this is absolutely the place to be. We have with us Alfred Isaacs, and he's just absolutely brilliant in the realm of now. I'm going to say black business, but for the sake of this discussion, for today only, we're going to allow the term minority business. Alfred Isaacs, welcome to the stage.
Oh, thanks for having me, Danny. It's been a while, but it's always a pleasure talking to you.
Well, you're looking dapper there, my friend.
Hey, an opportunity to wear a suit and tie, man.
Good.
Under COVID, we go to meetings, but we just hide our face because we're in t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah. So, quite often on this show, we talk about minority business enterprise, MBE. A lot of times we talk about DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise, WBE, women's business enterprise. From my research, you are, in fact, not only an expert here in Maryland, but you are also an expert nationally, including the state, work in the states of Florida, New York, there's one other place.
I did a contract in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go to the top. What is the state of minority business here in Maryland?
Okay. Minority business, like every social economic program, is primarily to remove discrimination. That's what all these programs are. To remove, identify previous discrimination and to remove discrimination. That's the starting point. How we do it is not that complicated, but there has to be certain understanding of what the program is. The problem I found is that most minority businesses are usually small, because that's the program, and are unaware of what the program is, so they cannot defend themselves within the program. These programs are always set up for the small business, but unfortunately, the small business does not have the time or opportunity to do deep dives into these programs. So there lies the problem. The problem is that it's for a group of individuals that have no idea what it is. And usually what they are told is usually from primes who cherry pick the program. If these programs are to remove discrimination, then they are all affirmative action programs. And with that said, they are all based on what is called the disparity study, which every so often state agencies do the disparity study to identify if the program is needed. A lot of people don't read the disparity study, so they don't know what the recommendations are. So in Maryland, we do disparity study for the MBE program, which is on the state's website. We do a disparity study for the disadvantaged business enterprise, which is on the state's website. And I would recommend any and all to go to the last two disparity studies and review the recommendations, which, if you compare one to the other, they're basically identical, which means
nothing has changed.
Nothing has been improved, and the company that got the contract is that's a sweetheart deal. I make recommendations, I submit them, you haven't done anything. So basically the recommendation from the previous is identical to or similar to the current.
So that also means that somebody got paid to do nothing.
No, someone got paid to write the justification with recommendations, which they did. Understand that you do what the contract says. The state is not forced to implement the recommendations. But if you look at the recommendations and you look at the situation, there are a cause and an effect. Let me give you a perfect example. In the last disparity study, it says that African American small business are substantially disadvantaged in every aspect, including line of credit, finance, and just being able to access contracts. So the recommendation is to fix it. We are 2 seasons ago. Let's call it seasons. 2 seasons ago. It's in the document. So when I hear minority complaining about the lack of capital, it's a documented recommendation approved by the state senate that says there is a disparity. It needs to be fixed. Therefore, what has the state done? We approve it. The state reaffirmed the MBE program and never included a financial aspect to improve the condition of the African American businesses. And why I say that is because that is what the disparity said. That's not me.
So I want you to break this down for the average person on the street. I want you to come out of the office and explain this to the everyday person. What is happening? You know, people push minority business advocacy on the state level, on the city level. But I need you to break this down for the everyday person, on the average Black person in Baltimore.
Okay. The program is set up for the small business, the underutilized, disenfranchised, whatever you want to call it. One of the requirements is that you have to do a study to say, yes, there is a need. Okay. So the study was done. They say, yes, there is a need. And these are the groups that really need help. It's submitted to the state through the Department of Transportation. The state approved it. The consultant got paid. It is published. It is public information. As I said, it's on their website. Then nothing happens. So the question is, we push to get, as somebody who does the program, we push to get the program. We have all the ammunition, and now nothing happens. There has to be a follow-up.
So this falls then on the governor.
The advocates.
The advocate?
The advocates.
How does it fall on the advocates? We then have to go back to the governor and say, hey, here's the study. You have not done your job.
No. The study has been approved by the state of Maryland.
So now what?
So the state has to look at the study, not just approve it. Read the study, make the necessary tools to correct the historic discrimination, which is usually red line and all that stuff. It is there.
Is it being done?
Is it being done? Question, no. But if you look at the state renewal, if you look at the state renewal, the state does say that there is discrimination in Maryland. Therefore, the program needs to continue. It's in the language. It's in the renewal language. I didn't know we were going to talk about Maryland Pacific, so I didn't pull down all so I can, quote you chapter and verse. But it's in there. The question is, who's going to finish the circle? Life is a circle, the circle of life. There's a start, there's a beginning, there's a process, and then there's an end. This program, this and the DB program is supposed to go away. And I tell people what I do is work myself out of a job. Because theoretically...
Have you worked yourself out of a job?
No. But theoretically, discrimination should be eradicated, and then I don't have a job. But it has become an industry unto itself. If you consider how many people are paid through all the public agencies, quasi-government that run these programs, that monitor these programs, it is an industry unto itself. If the program is complete, it did what it's supposed to do, then everybody, including myself, wouldn't have a job, because there would be no need for enforcement, because nobody wants to beat the system, because the system is set up that there is no need for enforcement. But as long as the system does not improve, then it's an industry.
In other words, it's a waste of time for an advocate like myself to continue to make noise about minority business enterprise, because the system lacks the teeth to police itself.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
Then why isn't the system policing itself?
Because we are not asking the right question to the right person.
All right, so what is the
We're
right
asking the right question.
What's the right question? And who is the right person? What's the right question? The right person.
The right question is, these are documented facts. These have been approved. Where is the action against these? Where's the action plan?
So the next time somebody tells me they are running for governor of the state of Maryland, I, as a journalist, would be able to ask them, have you read the most recent disparity study?
If you're running for the state, yes, you should have at least read the summaries, because the summaries, the executive summaries is where the meat is, where they break down everything, and then you go to the recommendation. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's a lot of pages of technical stuff. The recommendations is what most people read. Recommendations are based on the justification of the data.
So let me ask you, who is advocating effectively for minority business today?
I haven't heard of any organization that actually is going after the recommendations. They got it on the books, which is good. But the most important question is, now what? The now what, as far as I know, has not been answered, only because the previous recommendation is nearly identical to the current recommendation, and the DBE disparity study and the MBE disparity study is identical.
So that means the can is just getting kicked down the road.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Okay.
But, okay, what I'm saying to you is that this is what I believe. Me personally, this is me now. If a person running for public office comes to you and asks you for your vote and tell you what they are going to do, the question that usually gets me into trouble is, what have you done? Not what you're going to do. What have you done to give me the warm and fuzzy feeling that you can continue it at a higher level? If you haven't done anything, then it's a lick on a promise.
So I can start posing that question now to our state senators and state delegates. What are you doing as a state senator or state delegate to address the recommendations in the state disparity study?
The approved disparity study. It's not a draft. It's approved. It has been paid for. It's that everybody, okay, simple. To get a loan, you have to put a business plan together. So you have to tell them what you want to do with the money. So you have a plan. The disparity study creates an opportunity for a plan, because it is to remove historic and current discriminatory actions.
So
if you say you want to do something and you need a starting point, then you go to the disparity study, you go to the recommendations, and you ask the important question: what have we done with this, I don't know, $5-7 million piece of package?
it costs what?
It's a chunk of money. It's a couple $1 million. I don't know the exact number, but it is a couple $1 million.
My question is, what's the use of doing a study if you're not going to follow it? Because you could have put that $5 million into a minority business fund.
It gives you the.
So let me share this. Let me just interject. I'm so tired of studies. They study in the study that they studied before the study. It's just a lot of damn. Everybody needs a disparity study. We need action, damn it. Baltimore County, they finally have gotten a disparity study done. My understanding is they haven't had one in 12 years. I say this because Baltimore County is at least 30% Black, and they could be getting their first Black county councilman. All that to say, they've not paid attention to minority business in 12 years.
Put it this way, since Baltimore City is the largest city in Maryland, why haven't they used the Maryland disparity study?
Or the city of Baltimore.
And narrow it down to their jurisdiction. If the state is saying that, and we represent the majority of as a location, why can't we use the premise that if the state says there is, and we cannot justify or show that there isn't, then let's use the recommendation of the state. Why reinvent the wheel?
I'm feeling really disappointed in our elected officials because I'm hearing you say that it's a joke.
No. I'm saying that if it's not brought to them and the question is not such that they can act upon it, saying that they need something to be done without telling them what you want done and have legitimate claims, then it's just words. But if you have a study that says there is a problem and African Americans have a problem getting credit, which is line of credit, good insurance, and bonding. Because bonding is credit. Bonding is not insurance. Now, okay, I come to you and I say that this needs to be done, and I list you what I think is a starting point. And you said to me, Alfred, where you get that from? I said, the disparity study you approved. You approved. No, you might not have voted for it, but it has been approved. Then you go back to the document that you approved and put a plan together. Short-term, long-term, just like how you write a business plan. Short-term, long-term plan. How can I do this timeline? And then what you do is that you publish it.
Let me get to something else. Why do people hire you?
Usually when they get in trouble and they need me to fix it.
So wouldn't it make sense to hire you before I get in trouble?
Yes, but you see, I have been accused of a lot of things, and hey, but
You
if
want
it's
to
not,
explain that? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I've been accused of know-it-all. I have a bad attitude. You know, I talk
It
down.
sounds more like accountability. That's usually what we hear when it comes to accountability. You know,
I understand.
and your skin color, it probably has something to do with it also. We are in
Well,
America.
you know, when I was working, I was working on a state contract, and I had to do.
Oh, and you from Jamaica too? Oh yeah, he's a problem. He's
And
from
I had to do
Maryland.
site visits and compliance reviews. And I'll just give you a little story. So, quick story. A contractor wanted to delay the MBE section of their agreement because they were renegotiating the price. Contract was written, they're now renegotiating some change orders. So I said, I sent them an email asking, where is my document? No, I have the form, the participation form, but I don't have the contract. I need to make sure that the contract matches the form. Because the form is under perjury. So if you say, I'm going to hire that Donnie Glover to do broadcast for 12 hours and I'm going to pay him $1,000 an hour, then over over 12 months,
I'll be sending you an invoice. Can I pause for a second? I can send you an invoice. Matter of fact, I can do it from my phone.
So 12 months at $1,000 a month. That's what you said in writing, under perjury. I don't want to see that contract to ensure that you have a contract that says what the document says. It has to match up. And it has to match up because the document you submitted that approved you to get the contract was under perjury. I don't play with perjury because perjury is nice. You perjure one document and the whole thing is purged. It's perjurized. Therefore, if the participation forms are not complete and accurate, you're not supposed to get a contract. Because the rules in Maryland is complete and accurate, which means you do everything and you never date it, and there's a date section. I throw you out because if you cannot follow simple instructions to get the contract, why should I trust you with the contract? That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, I want to go back because you do private consulting, right?
Yes.
And it would make sense that a minority firm that can afford you would hire you, right?
Yes. Yeah. We also represent the owner, which is normally the state or federal government or a large private firm.
So if I'm trying to get more minority business, not just here in Maryland, but anywhere in America, I should be calling you, right?
Yes, and the company I work for should be a part of your development team. So not only do you go out and outreach, you go out and start working what is called your good faith effort plan. Because trust me, you have a presentation and your competitor walks in with a plan, good plan. Hopefully they have a DBE or MBE company that is their expert. And you do the same thing, but when you walk into, and this is before COVID, when you walk into the presentation, you have 15 certified firms to attest on your behalf. People who take time out of their job because they believe in you, because you have shown them. Perception is key. people believe what they perceive. And if they see, because I've been to presentations where 30 minority firms were there. And in the presentation, that the person who was doing the presentation says, "Can you please, we brought firms to if you need to attest." Will the firms get up? And a third of the room got up. And the commissioners went, "Whoa." Well, we got the contract, of course, because what we did was create a history. We have a relationship, even with new firms. Because one thing we don't do is repeat. One thing I don't believe in is repeating firms. Because I'm a certified DBE liaison officer with the federal government, I understand what it takes to approve a firm. And the federal government looks on ownership and influence. So when you run a DBE for a long time, then it's considered, is it control? Are they relying on your contracts to survive? If they 60% of their contract is with you, you control them because they have financial influence.
Let me ask you this. Have you seen penalties put on prime contractors who fail to hire MBEs anywhere?
Yes. You see, the state program requires you to go through the state for satisfaction. The DBE program does not require you to go through to the state because it's federal. Civil rights says if you believe there is discrimination, you don't have to prove it. You just have to believe it. You submit it to me, and I'll take care of it. So far, I've only found one state that the state attorney general has wrote a position paper that he's going to enforce it.
Is this Florida?
He's going to enforce all the laws. I've never seen it anywhere else. I don't want to advertise the state.
What state?
The one above us.
Okay.
The one above us. There's only one above us. The one above us. Because what I was looking for was types of enforcement. When I start a project, I want the history. I want to understand why, how it started, why it started. Baltimore's the MB program in Maryland started because of the Baltimore Tunnel.
The what?
Baltimore Tunnel.
The CSX
Baltimore Tunnel. That is where the program started from. When they were doing
the train?
No. The one you drive under.
Oh, okay.
That tunnel.
Harbor Tunnel. Harbor Tunnel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where it started. So when I go to a DBE to do my assessment, and their certification it has a low number, which means that they have been in the program for a long time. My question that I usually start with after I introduce myself and explain, I says, I have one question. Did the outcome of the program because of the Baltimore Tunnel work? And then I sit back because I get 15 minutes of personal opinion. It hasn't worked because there are certain disconnects. And because what I do, I am looking at the forest and I'm not seeing the trees. I'm looking at the whole picture. Most people in the program are looking at the trees and cannot see the forest. So if you take the program collectively, Maryland's program is a very good program. Collectively. But if you departmentalize it, the left hand don't know what the right hand is doing. And when you ask questions, then you are an outsider.
You're a troublemaker.
You're considered not with it. You see, okay, when you talk to somebody who understands what they're doing, they will tell you that, let's use the federal program, 49 CFR Part 26. Everybody knows what it is. 49 CFR Part 26. What does that mean? People quote it. What does that mean? 49 is transportation. Chapter A is the Office of the Secretary of Transportation, and Part 26 is the participation of DBE in Transportation Financial Assistance Program. That's what it is.
Okay, break that down. Break that down for the everyday person. What does that mean for the average person?
See, what that means is that the DBE program is run out of the Office of the Secretary of Transportation, which is a member of the cabinet. They set a goal, and then they say to the administration, transit, highway, airport, this is what I want. Now go get me what I want.
What does that mean, Alfred?
That means it is not the secretary that sets the goals on the contract. It is the administration, the federal highway, federal aviation, federal transit. That's what it means. Each administration, like within Maryland, operates separately. As a consultant, every time I walk into a program, I have to relearn that program. So I know aviation, I moved to transit. So I had to go back to school and get trained by transit on how transit runs the program. It's not the same program. People think it's the same program.
Shouldn't it be the same? Should it not be the same program?
No, because each administration has a different emphasis on what they need. So they run the program, they follow the requirements, but what they look at, what they zoom into is different from others because of the requirement of the industry. Highway has always been...
Hey, Alfred, this is all confusing to the everyday person.
Okay.
See,
hold on. If you want to the airport, you now have to understand federal aviation because that is the industry. So you have to understand what the program, you have to understand what they look for. Because that is industry, and industry are going to survive in. If you want to the highway, road and bridges, you have to understand what that program is. Because that is the program for you in that industry. You understand that? The requirements are different. What they look for is different. There are certain things that are identical, but the emphasis is based on what they do. So okay, let me show you why that is important. Because some of the certifications in aviation, NACS codes, the codes you use to operate under, are only in the airport. Because they don't talk about road and bridges. They talk about taxiways. So that certification, when I'm doing my review, has to represent aviation. I cannot, in good conscience, approve a certification for somebody who does bridges. In an airport don't have bridges. Airport has loading docks, but that's not a bridge. So what I've been telling companies when whatever the industry is, you have to get certified in that even if the work is identical, you have to get certified in that work, because if you follow the requirements of the regulation, you don't meet it because you're not certified in the industry in which you work. An electrical company that does high voltage can get certified to do roadway lighting. There's a NACS code for runway lighting, runway. So if you're looking for somebody to do runway lighting, you're not going to use somebody who does highway lighting if you find a firm certified to do runway lighting.
Okay, let's get back to the everyday business that just wants to do some damn business with the state. They don't want to have to deal with the disparity studies and knowing all of these damn regulations. They just want to do some damn work. Can you help them?
Yes, let me explain. Let me start with this first. Hold on.
See, by the time they finish figuring this all out, they'll be out of business because they be studying and they won't pay.
Okay. Let's talk infrastructure, because that's now the new financial buzzword. For a small firm to be considered, they have to be ready, willing, and able. That's what the federal government says. Ready, they can perform the work. You're a plumber, you do plumbing, you're willing. Right? You're willing to do the work. You are ready to do the work, which means that you have all your licensing, you have your equipment, or you have identified the equipment you need. You have staff, or you have identified the people you need. So you're ready to go. Give it to me. Kickstart in 30 days. Able. That is where the problem is. Able means that you have the financial, the credit, the history to do the work. The rest of them is in your control. The able depends on your bank, your insurance company, other aspects that may or may not be in your control.
Bonding
is a line of credit. It's not an insurance policy. That is why, okay, you meet all two and you want to be able. You can get a $50,000 bond with a credit card. Now you go to the primes, you find out who the primes are bidding this job. You go to their website, you look at their program, you register on their website to do work. One of the questions is, do you have bond? I have $50,000 bond. When you meet with their representative, you say, well, you'd have, been able to acquire 50,000 bonding. The contract is 100,000. The contractor says, I'll waive it. I said, no, I'd like you to use my $50,000 bond. Why? Because every time you use it, it jumps 1.5%. I've worked with programs that a company started with a $50,000 bond, and in 4 years was at 2.5 million. Capacity, single.
Okay, explain that to the everyday person. What does that mean?
Okay, bonding is how much you can bond per contract, and then the total bond. So if you have 100,000 single, you can have 500,000 total, so you can bid 5 jobs. When they talk about bonding, they're talking about the project, not your total, because you might have 500,000 bond capacity, but you have 3 jobs, so you really have available 200,000. They don't care about the 5. They only care about, can you bond my job?
Alfred, what I'm saying is, you're talking about a company, how a company can grow its credit, its ability to get larger and larger bonding. That's That's your point, right?
Right, because bonding is credit. Because the object of getting bonding personally is to develop a corporate bond. The large companies, the president don't sign it, Don't
And
cover
your
it
point
himself.
with that is the bigger your bond, the bigger your credit score, the more credit you can pull down, the larger jobs you can get.
Right,
On the other
because you are now
side,
able.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
right.
And
So
capacity able. Okay.
right. So if there is a development program that helps companies get the resources to access and use, because everybody's talking about access, but nobody's talking about utilization. If you have a line of credit and you have nowhere to spend it, you do not have a line of credit. But if you have a line of credit where you can spend it and make money, then it is working for you. You understand the difference?
And that's something that's very important to you. You want to
Well,
see companies grow their credibility.
one of the requirements of the DBE program, there is a program, and then there's 8 objectives. And people in the program, what I do, and ask them, how do you manage the program? Do you use the definition or you use the objectives? Every business plan has a mission statement and then objectives and then tasks. That is standard business, standard planning. So you look at the mission statement, you look at the objectives, you put the task against the objectives, and then you run it from the bottom up. And if you run it from the bottom up, then you meet the objectives of the mission statement of the organization. Correct?
Yeah.
So I look at the objectives and I says, if I hit the objectives, then I meet the requirements of the mission statement. One of the objectives is to assist development of firms that they can compete successfully in the marketplace outside the DB program. How do they compete?
A task has to be something along those lines to help grow their credit.
Yes, so they can compete outside the program. Remember, the program is supposed to be temporary. You come into the program, you grow, and then you get out. You don't stay there. Right. You graduate because you have sustained capital. Not that you spend the money and your personal network has now exceeded the requirement. That is bad management. Because your money not going back into the business, it's going somewhere else.
There's a limited amount of time for the federal program. That's 8 years.
No, that's the federal 8A. It is section 8A of the Small Business Administration.
How many years can you stay in that program?
I'm not sure. I think it's 4 or 5. But the problem with that program is that they feed you so much that you can't get out of it because it is all consuming. So you graduate out of it and then you drop, because it is hard for a starving person to say no thank you, even when they have eaten more than they should have. That's part of the problem with it's that it is good, but it is bad. Like, the Bible says gluttony is a sin, even though I haven't found that in the Bible. But taking more than you need is a sin. But you take more because you don't know when you're going to get your next meal. So the companies graduate out of those programs and then end up back into something else. Now, if you assist the development of DBE firms, then what you get is companies that are now willing, able, and capable to compete on a higher level. because they're outside the farm. But okay, so that is one of the requirements. There's infrastructure coming in. Maryland is going to get a lot of, road and bridges, which is mostly highway. Companies know before the law even leave the house, whatever, to start setting up their strategic positioning. This is what I would suggest. Staffing, you register with the state program. You just register. You tell them what you're looking for, but you're not hunting now. If people meet that requirement, they must send you their resume. So what you're doing is building up what I call your intellectual resource. In other words, brain trust. The people who can do the work, the actual bodies, boots on the ground, whatever you want to call it. So you have that covered. So you're not running around looking for people. And you create a relationship with whoever is your representative. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I need, short term, long term. But if there's anybody that exceeds this expectation, don't be frightened to send them to me, because you might find somebody who meets up. You know what I mean? Because a job description is minimum, the minimum requirement.
So let's get some information out there. What is your phone number? How can people contact you?
Okay. Let me give you my corporate number. It's 301-771-1701.
301-771-1701.
Yes. You see, the object is to have a plan. If you are a drywall person and you're not a painter, go and identify a painter. Interview them for a job. If you get the drywall, you can also sub out the painting, because some people put it together. Not all drywallers are painters. Not all painters are drywall. And if you paint and you do drywall, in violation of the program, because you're working outside of your approved scope. The word approved scope. So you have to make sure that everybody's covered. First, you find out if you need a license. If you don't need a license, go after it. If you need a license in Maryland to be a painter, then you go get your license. You don't have to do the work. You just have to manage the work. But you can now look at going after larger jobs. Because there are certain requirements that if the prime cannot use the excuse that he wants to self-perform the work in the regulation. So when I used to do outreach, my question to the primes was, based on your NAAQS code, how much of this work you're going to sub out? Because that's a question I'm going to ask when you submit your documents. How much? I'm looking for.
Alfred, how long have you been doing this kind of work?
Hey, I don't want to tell you my age. Over 35 years. My story is interesting. I came out of Florida.
How are you going to call your own story interesting?
No.
It might be boring to me.
No, I came out of Florida. And in Florida, the prime contractors are intelligent, conniving, slick, and the list goes on. Since leaving Florida, Florida is like graduate school in compliance, because they bend the rule, almost till they knew where the line was, and they bend it. Since leaving Florida, what I've seen other places is child's play. Child's play. They haven't reached that level of sophistication. The example I was going to give you, I asked for the information. I got an email saying that they were negotiating and they prefer if I wait. So I sent back a response. No. Capital N, capital O, no. Thank you. They got the contract. I got what I needed, right? I got what I needed because they sent it to me. They got the contract. I went to the contractor that the MBE firm that in question. And I said, can I see the documents that the contractor gave you? Guess what? 2 different documents. Why would they not think I would not have cross-referenced it? 2 different documents. So I had a meeting, went back in there and asked them, which one is the correct one? Because the one you gave me did not have the correct zip code. The contractor would never get it. Because I said, simple. I trust you're going to do the right thing, but I verify you. And I cross-reference based on my experience. I know how to find out if you're lying. And if you say, I got it from David, I go to David and said, let me see what you said. So I had a conversation with them. I said, do not play that game with me. The contract was a beautiful contract. But you know why? Because when they wanted to do something, they called and says, can I do this? And I said, explain to me how you have done it. And I'll tell you if you can continue doing it. Because the statement was, oh, I've been doing it for 10 years. And I said, great, that don't make it right. That doesn't mean that all that means that you've been doing it for 10 years.
That means somebody has not been doing their job for 10 years.
Because I'm a consultant, I do not have the comfort of being wrong. So I make recommendations based on facts. I quote regulations and therefore I put the information in there. And if it says you must, you must. And if it says you shall, you shall. And if it says you should, that's good faith effort. It's a recommendation. Most of them don't do it.
We want anyone that needs your services in the entire United States, because this is a national broadcast, to call that number and speak to this man, Alfred Isaacs. I am certain I've been grilling him not just the past hour, but for the past 5 or 6 years on MBE. I've called him day, night, weekends. I take him MBEs. He educates them. And I guess eventually I get a referral fee or something, right?
Well, sometimes I don't charge. You see, hold on. My objective, listen to me. My objective is to teach you how to fish. So one day you can fish for me. If I take it and do it myself, then you still do not understand the process. So when I'm gone, what happens? But if I teach you how to fish, Donnie, one day when I need to fish, you can bring me fish. The question I asked when I came here, which is a serious question. I have 2 kids. One of them still in college, one is working. The one working, let's not talk. I said to a group, I am new here. I have a child that wants to come up for summer. Who can I call to get her a job? Couldn't get an answer.
Really?
Yes. There was nobody that they could recommend that, okay, pick up the phone and call Donnie. Because Donnie always looking to, yes. That has to change.
I will help you.
That has to change.
I will help you, no problem.
We need to support people who support us. There's a lot of programs out there.
Common sense.
There's a lot of programs out there, but if you don't understand the pitfalls or the landmines, you will step in it and go, why didn't somebody tell me? And my answer to you is, why didn't you ask, is this right? Is this correct? Is what I am doing within the requirements? And then you challenge the people who have the power to do what is right. If you approve a document and don't do the document, then that's not right. But
so let me ask you, because
no,
we got
what I'm
like
saying is with the state, the representatives don't know the program. There's a lot of things going on there that they're relying on consultants, whatever. If people would just give them the right, tell them where the fish is and how to fish it, then you and I would not be having this conversation because they know where the fish is.
I want to say this one thing. Thank God for you. I wish there were more people like you who, and I mean black people, who understand the big picture. You understand business. You know that as I grow my business, I can then hire more people that look like me and you. You get that. What I find though, Mr. Alfred, is we have a lot of people in position that look like us who do not use their position to help us. They don't understand that I need that check, not in 6 months, not in 3 months, but in 2 weeks. Matter of fact, I could use it right now.
Okay, let me give you a simple example of a mindset.
No, we got to wrap up. You don't do. We got a couple of minutes. We can go over if you want, but I just want you to understand, we don't have a lot of people like you. We have all of these black people in position. To me, more black people should be getting contracts. But it's not happening. We get people in there and they get your paperwork and they say, okay, well, I'll get to that tomorrow. I need you to get to it today, yesterday.
Okay, let me give you an example about getting paid. When I was in Florida, I was working at the airport, Fort Lauderdale Airport expansion phase 2, 336 million, because I always have to repeat the story. So, we set up the payment and everything else. And I said, I'm going to say it quick. I said to the director, can I borrow your phone because I need to call the finance director downtown. He says, why? I said, I need a favor from him, but I need to use your phone because my phone was not a government phone. So the caller ID showed up, as a corporate, not as a part of the government system. So I picked up the phone, spoke to the secretary and tell her that, I'm calling from this project and I need to know what the vacation schedule of the staff is. And she says, excuse me? I says, yes, because I've been told that when staff goes on leave, invoices sit. Therefore, I need the vacation schedule of all the staff, and I also need the list of all the staff that is assigned to my project. Because I need to know who's going to do my job when Mark goes on vacation. Who's going to take it over?
Who's going to process your check?
Right. No, I said, because I'm using the deputy director's phone, I says, well, how I started was, good morning, I'm calling from the deputy director of Fort Lauderdale Airport, from his office. And I didn't lie. And I asked for it. If it's something you can do, please submit it. And I gave his email address. If not, I will request that the director of the airport call the director of finance and do it at that higher level. I got what I wanted. I tracked my invoice. I moved payment from 30 days to 25 days because I even knew the mail clerk. Because I sat down, I called the mail clerk because her number was there, the clerk, the mail office. And I said, tell me how this process works. And I told her who I was. And this is what I want to know. But you see, you can do it if you, no, hold on. You can do it if you understand how the system works. My
I
degree
got
is
you.
in
I
operation
got you.
management.
I got you. I want to
You
say
know,
something. I shouldn't have to go through all of this simple stuff. I should have
no, no,
black
no. You
people.
are not supposed to go through it.
I know,
The
I know, I
agency
know.
is supposed to do it.
No, I'm trying to make a point. This is a part of the frustration of a lot of business owners, a lot of black business owners. I think a lot of us lack the patience to deal with silly people who should know their job.
No, no, no. It's not that. It's not that. It is not their job. If you look at the
It's not their
program,
job. It's
no,
not
hold
their
on.
job.
No, no, no. If you look at the programs, the state does not have a timeline to pay, but the contractor and the subs have. You have to submit it and you have to report it. But the state doesn't have a timeline to process your payment. It's not a regulation. No. If you make this senior management review, their annual review is based on, as a criteria, their social economic program outcome. Then you have chief executives calling down to managers and saying, how is my program? Because my bonus is now based on making sure that everybody below me do their job and pay the people, including evaluation of payments. There's no incentive. So if we use Baltimore, the city of Baltimore, if
You get
the
an
mayor
incentive
said,
every time you get a paycheck is your damn incentive.
oh, no, 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 you get paid to do your job. It's in your job description. It doesn't tell you how quickly you must do it, but you must do it. But if part
This
of
is the
your
problem.
evaluation, no, no, no.
Listen, we run out of time.
Okay.
But it's a problem when you got to babysit grown people who beg for the job, then they get the job and don't want to do the job. It's a
It's
waste of
all
time.
loaded.
A waste of time. I'm
Well,
gonna
how
put
do
your
you
phone
do it?
number up
You
one more
talk to,
time. Listen,
you
we
talk to
only
the people
use.
who can make it done, get it done. But
Let
we'll
me
talk
go
some
ahead.
more.
I'm gonna give you the floor and let you make your final statement. Okay? There you have the floor.
Okay. All these programs can work if everyone does their part. And it is always based on what is in your control. So whatever is in your control, you take control of it. And then because of you having control of your situation, you can now go and influence other people. Complaining doesn't help, because the question that is usually not asked is simple. What have you done? You got to do something. The program is set up for you. You have to make sure the program works. Complaining about the program does not help anyone. Working within the program does. But first, you have to understand it. And one of the things I do is to help you understand the program. An informed consumer is always right.
Well said,
Thank you.
Alfred. Thank you for joining us today. Wagwan to Jamaica. Nani the Maroon Queen. It's Women's History Month. Shout out
Yeah,
to Nani. Nani led the revolution.
yeah. Nani was supposed is stated as being from Ghana. That's where the place started.
I know she had a machete.
Oh, you remember in Africa, warrior queens were the norm. They were totally accepted.
Shout out
'Cause
to Nani of the
it was more
Maroon.
than strength. So strength was just one of the aspects of it, but it was more than strength.
We appreciate you, Alfred.
Yeah, man. Same here, man. Keep
I hope
up
your
the good,
phone,
keep
I
up
hope
the
your
good
phone
fight.
blows up. I hope you get a lot of phone calls because people need you. If you're going to be successful in business in Maryland or anywhere in the United States, you're trying to get contracts, this is the man I want you to call.
I will tell you what I need you to do, and then it's on you. And if I ask you to do something, I'll let me know, because feedback is important. And I don't get it, then there is no moving forward. So if you call me and I ask you what this is what I need you to do, and as soon as you do it, let me know. When you're hungry, you go find food. When you're hungry, you don't sit down and complain.
When I was in Jamaica, Jamaican man tell me, you never met a hustler like a Jamaican hustler. We worked 14 jobs, man.
Well, the truth of the matter is that if you understand the system, you basically know how to beat it. And my job is to plug the holes that come up. So I try to beat the system. Any program I work, I beat it. So I know how to get around it. And you can get around it. My job is not to tell you how to get around it.
I hope this show is very beneficial for you and those watching, our viewers. Thank you for tuning in this morning with the one and only Alfred Isaacs here in the state of Maryland. Very well-versed nationally on minority business enterprise, disadvantaged business enterprise, disabled veterans, women business enterprise, the whole nine. Alfred Isaacs. Thank you for joining us. Up today, down tomorrow. Do your day and everything will follow. Nothing to it but to do it. I got to do it, regardless of how I feel. I am somebody. I am my brother's keeper. Good morning.
Thank you, sir.